Russia is unleashing a new wave of missile and drone strikes on Ukraine, causing emergency power outages for millions of people. Ukraine says it shot down most of the missiles, 61 of the 71 launched at Ukraine Friday. The strikes hit the southeastern city of Zaporizhzhia, and these images show some of the damage, as well as the Kharkiv region, where Ukraine says it shot down several Iranian-made drones overnight. Meanwhile, President Volodymyr Zelensky is back in Kyiv after meeting EU leaders in Brussels Thursday. He made a plea for Western fighter jets for Ukraine, and Kyiv has now officially asked the Netherlands for F-16s. Well, CNN senior international correspondent David McKenzie joins us now live from the capital of Kyiv. David, I understand these attacks reportedly came in waves in order to evade Ukraine's air defense systems. How much damage was caused overnight?
Well, certainly not as much damage as could have occurred, Christina. There was a wave of attacks. Overnight, it appears there was a dependence on at least some part on the Iranian drones, perhaps to try and then bring in the more significant firepower, which were these missile systems and rocket attacks. According to the Ukrainian military, there were land, sea, and air-based missiles tried to strike across the country in the east, south, and the west of the country. It appears mostly to try and target these civilian infrastructure, particularly for power generation. As you said, some 60 odd of the 70 missiles Ukraine say were shot at the territory were taken down. That's a very high success rate for the air defense system. Still, they have had to do planned outages in this country, as well as unplanned outages in parts of the east at least. It appears to be the continuing efforts by the Russians to strike at the civilian power grid, in part to cripple the Ukrainian government, but also to strike at the morale of Ukrainians. But even today, people here in the capital were in the subway system, doing their work, continuing on as normal, despite the air sirens going on repeatedly through the day so far. This will be seen as a significant success, I think, in terms of the air defense system. But this comes as there is certainly an increase in activity in the east of the country by the Russians trying to potentially soften up those defenses, and a lot of talk still by Ukrainians about a possible spring offensive by Russian forces. Christina?
Yeah, and David, just following President Zelensky's trip to Europe, we now know there has been a direct request to the Netherlands for F-16 fighter jets. As I understand it, this is actually strategic because the Netherlands are in the process of phasing out those warplanes. But does that necessarily mean that they will supply them?
Not in the short term. I think there's a lot of discussion happening behind closed doors, and you've seen the Ukrainians push publicly, not just in that official request, but multiple times in recent weeks, especially with that swing of Zelensky through the UK and Europe, pushing hard for fighter jets and other sophisticated weapons, as he has been throughout this nearly year of conflict, trying to get better weapon systems into the country. The Netherlands, for their part, who received that request, they are, you're right, decommissioning more than 20 F-16 fighter jets from their Air Force. They said to our affiliate there in the Netherlands that they take all of these requests very seriously. They say that it's a complex system that needs a great deal of support, maintenance, and training. But this is what allies have said of many systems that have then ended up in Ukrainian hands. So at this stage, they're leaving it open for possible supply, but it wouldn't be something you could just send over in the short term. Christina?
David McKenzie there live for us in Kyiv. David, thank you very much. Now, our next guest has been tweeting about his close call with missiles. Timothy Milavonich, a former Ukrainian Minister of Economic Development and Trade, said this: multiple Russian missile attacks across Ukraine. One missile just flew over me. Not a fun experience. 10 missiles are shot down over Kyiv, 13 over Odessa. There are some hits, at least in Kyiv and the Lviv region. So far, no casualties. One missile travelled through Moldova. And Timothy Milavanov joins us now live from Lviv. Thank you for your time. We heard that the government were issuing warnings before this missile attack happened. Sadly, as we were hearing from David Mackenzie, there, our reporter in Kyiv, that didn't actually stop widespread destruction to your energy facilities in 6 different regions. What is the scale of the damage to your power grid?
Several power stations hit, at least 4. And then some of the other power grid structures have come under pressure. But also some of the missiles landed in the areas where there was nothing, just in fields, or one landed by a bus stop. Fortunately, no one was killed. So, and 61 out of 71 has been shut down. So it's just remarkable success, I think.
And of course, all of this highlights the need for more weaponry, more arms and more support from your allies. We saw, of course, President Zelensky trying to rally leaders in Europe over the past 48 hours for exactly that. How successful has he been in that mission?
Zelensky manages to do things, to achieve things that no one think could be possible. So in that sense, I'm pretty confident that we'll get the Air Force, but it's always a little bit delayed. It's always the numbers are not necessarily the ones that we need. And so in the end, we cover it. We cover for it with people's lives. And I think that's just dismaying.
From Euronews.
You heard us talking just then about the F-16 fighter jets from the Netherlands. How confident are you that you will receive warplanes and within the time frame needed, much as we've seen with the delivery of tanks? Do you think you could get them and get them within the time frame needed?
I think we will get them. I'm not so sure about the time frame because indeed these systems are more complex and it depends on how much of the existing infrastructure in Ukraine is available to be able to support them. I'm pretty confident that training can be done relatively quickly, but so it's just not the planes alone. It's a lot of the systems around them that needs to be delivered.
Timothy, I just want to show our viewers a tweet that you had just recently about your defense department. You said that Ukraine's defense minister promises to continue reform the ministry despite the war in response to the recent procurement scandal. In my view, this is a sign of health and of a cleanup of corruption. Reznikov is the best defense minister in the history of Ukraine. So having said that, Timothy, are you saying that Reznikov will be staying in his post?
At this moment, appears he will. I am actually of the view that he should, because he is doing a great job on all of the fronts. It is true that this area of procurement has been overlooked, and he has political responsibility for that. But I think people also have to be realistic because his primarily focus is on delivering arms. Now, I'm not defending him. And in fact, I think this is a structural issue. We know that the defense procurement, non-arms procurement, like food supplies and some of the other equipment supplies, non-military, has been unreformed. And we also know that there are informants and there are infiltrators. We know there are vested interests and deep states. I know some of them personal, and they go back into 1990s, 2000s. Some of them work with Russia. Some of them are just trying to enrich themselves. So in essence, we are fighting 2 battles. One is on the front lines, and another, people who are trying to sabotage our defense effort.
So how concerning is it then to have this sort of internal division going on, this corruption, these, as you say, people who are trying to sabotage your operations so close to what we expect to be the spring offensive?
Well, I'll give you an example, like personal example. I was a minister and I fired a person who I believed was corrupt. I couldn't prove. So they sued me and opened criminal investigation against me. Later, they got their jobs back. And during the war, they actually stole some money for procurement in a similar way. And now they are wanted on the FBI, on the Europol. Some are wanted, some are actually arrested and will serve the terms. So there are people like that, and we have to get rid of them too. So it is concerning, but it is great that we are doing it. It's just challenging to do it.
All right, so Timothy Melavanov, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And I'm sure we will talk again in the days to come. Thank you.